The Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying matches are taking place on Monday Night Raw, and in the match that Asuka and Bayley are part of it, Kairi Sane tries to interfere to help Asuka win the match. But Bayley is taking advantage of the distraction and is using their own tricks against themselves, so the role model manages to qualify for the Women's Elimination Chamber match in Chicago. The road to WrestleMania continues for the role model, but her teammate Lyra Valkyria has a qualifying match as well, where she also successfully manages to pin Ivy Nile and punch her ticket to Chicago for a spot in the Women's Elimination Chamber match. So we move on, and now it's time to see who's going to be the number one contender to the WWE Women's Championship, as Liv Morgan has chosen Stephanie Vaquer as her opponent at WrestleMania. At some point, Lyra's looking for the diving famouser, but a smart dodge by Chelsea Green makes Lyra's own teammate Bayley the victim of this leg drop, and Chelsea takes advantage of this and sends Lyra out and covers Bayley to eliminate the role model from the matchup. And as Bayley's trying to get back to her feet to leave the structure, Lyra Valkyria is still dealing with Chelsea Green. She manages to lift her up and slam her down with the Nightwing. But Bayley hasn't left the structure yet, as she goes off the ropes and breaks the pin and takes down Lyra Valkyria. Bayley's driven crazy again, this time against her own friend and tag team partner. Bayley takes down Lyra with the rose plant in the middle of the ring without even being in the match. After she's done with Lyra, she leaves the structure, and Nia Jax is the one who takes advantage and delivers an annihilator to Lyra Valkyria to eliminate her from the matchup. But as we move on, both Lyra and Bayley are arguing with each other in the parking lot in the backstage after the show, but we will get more answers from them, especially Bayley, on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. Bayley's dark side seems to be controlling her, but on the next Raw, things are completely different, because Bayley stops Lyra before her entrance and has some words for her. Lyra, could you please hear me out for a second? Hear you out? Bayley, how dare you? How dare you come to me and ask me to hear you out? You should be thankful that I'm not breaking your face like you did to mine at Elimination Chamber. I know, and I apologize for that, okay? I'm sorry. You know, it's been a hard time for me. I haven't been able to stabilize my emotions recently. And what did I do? Despite the fact that you cost me the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam, I still forgave you and did my best to help you. I can no longer challenge for that title because of you, and with the work that you've put through the past months, I wonder if I could have still won the tag titles at WrestleMania if you weren't taken out like I did with Becky. Lyra's pissed off, but she doesn't want to cross the friendship line like Bayley did at Elimination Chamber and wants to separate her path by her own. She comes out and is talking about what could be the future for her, as now she has nothing to do. She cannot challenge for the Intercontinental Championship as Becky Lynch is the champion, and now her tag team partner is being the one who's costing her the opportunities. But before she could talk about her next step, Lyra, you're asking the wrong questions. You're talking about titles, opportunities, and rankings. That's not what you need. What you need is protection and direction. What you need is true power, and lucky for you, I happen to be the answer to all of your problems. Because you've got talent, but talent alone doesn't survive here. Not when there's people constantly dragging you down. Not when certain partners keep costing you the opportunities you talk about. You don't need another match for a title. You need the right family standing behind you. This seems to be an offer for Lyra to join the Judgment Day, but before she could say anything, no, absolutely not. She doesn't need you, Liv. She doesn't need your family, your mind games, or anything that comes with it. That's interesting, Bayley, because every time Lyra gets close to something big, whether it's a title, whether it's a big opportunity, or in this case, it's the chance to find the right path, who's the one standing next to her when it falls apart? I'm just saying, maybe Lyra's biggest obstacle isn't the division. Maybe it's the friend who keeps holding her back. Bayley, who seemed to have her calmer side back tonight, has snapped again, this time against Liv Morgan, with Lyra Valkyria watching on. Bayley's driven crazy again, and Lyra is shouting at her, because what she did at Elimination Chamber was against Lyra, but now she's trying to defend Lyra. And all these arguments live to Liv Morgan getting the chance to hit the Oblivion to Lyra Valkyria. And because of Bayley, she is down again. Liv got what she wanted, and this leads to a one-on-one matchup between Liv Morgan and Bayley on the next episode of Monday Night Raw, where the aggressive side of Bayley is fighting for her again. She's decimating Liv Morgan, and Lyra Valkyria is watching the match from the backstage as well. The match continues until the point that Bayley is almost choking Liv out to the corner, but because they're in the corner, the referee separates them. But instead of going for the continue of the match, Bayley's now arguing with the referee, and that was the chance Liv needed to recover and deliver a backstabber to the spine of the role model. She follows it up with an oblivion off the ropes for a 1, 2, 3 as Liv Morgan wins this matchup against Bayley to gain more momentum towards her match for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania against Stephanie Vaquer. But speaking of the champion, Stephanie is the one who joins Lyra backstage, and it seems the champ has some words for the Bird Lady. I heard your words last week, Lyra, and I believe you were right. I believe you deserve more. Liv says titles aren't the right opportunity for you. Well, don't listen to her. She talks nonsense most of the times, and I'll take care of her at WrestleMania. But here's the thing. There's still one title that you can go after, and that maybe gives you the chance to take care of Liv at WrestleMania. I appreciate you, Stephanie, but with all due respect, I've had enough. I don't want to be seen as the one who seems to be begging for opportunities. No, I can earn them, and I can do anything I want on my own. Just like your title, that if I want, I'll earn the chance for it. Exactly. And that's why I want you to be in the ring next week. So you'd understand, I'm not handing you an opportunity. Stephanie leaves, and it looks like she's willing to give Lyra a chance at the Women's World Championship. And if the match is going to happen, it's going to be before WrestleMania. And Stephanie's willing to risk it all. But we'll understand more of what's going on the next week, where both Lyra and Stephanie are standing in the middle of the ring. Lyra, you think the match I offered you was a handout? It's not. I don't give gifts. I give challenges, and I chose you because you keep fighting when everything around you falls apart. Next week, I want to see if you can push the Women's World Champion to her limit, and who knows, maybe you could be the one facing Liv at WrestleMania. Stephanie, I said it last week. I don't want charity. I want to earn every step. Then earn it next week against me. Wow, this is cute. The champion handing out title matches while the Royal Rumble winner, the actual #1 contender, the woman who's already going to WrestleMania, stands right here. Lyra, I tried to help you. I told you the solution to your problems was standing with the Judgment Day. Instead, Bayley stuck her nose and stole what should have been your moment, facing me, the biggest star, the greatest Royal Rumble winner, and the greatest woman to ever step foot in a WWE ring. And this match? It shouldn't even happen. You're putting a WrestleMania match in jeopardy. You don't need to be worried about anything, Liv. I've already spoke to Pierce, and the match is already made official. I'm just here trying to convince Lyra that she deserves this title shot. You don't have to be worried about it. As Stephanie says, the Women's World Championship match is official for next week. But speaking of next week, before the main event during the show, Lyra Valkyria meets Bayley in the locker room, and there's an important conversation between the two. So you decide to take bigger steps, and you want to do it alongside the Judgment Day, aren't you? The so-called protection and direction you need didn't come from the helps and advices I gave you. What is Liv gonna do for you that I haven't? Bayley, just stop. I thank you, and I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I've kept myself back for you to help you. I can't deal with your emotional instability anymore. The world title shot I got next week could have been at WrestleMania if it wasn't for you. It has always been like this. Every time I think someone's by my side, they leave me, even though I tried to save you from the devil that is Liv Morgan. Bayley, being a good friend doesn't always mean doing something for them. You wanted to do something for me, then why did you cost me my match at Elimination Chamber? Being a good friend doesn't always mean speaking on behalf of them. I was never gonna accept Liv's offer from the first place, and I never will. But being a good friend sometimes just simply means understanding your friend, and not forgetting what we've been through together. Now, After what you just said, somewhere down inside of me feels bad about this, but I should not feel bad about having the chance to step in at WrestleMania as the Women's World Champion. Something that could have already been my plan come WrestleMania time. Thank you for all the helps, advice, and thanks for the friendship. But I'm a grown woman, and I know what's best for me. Bayley is the past. The Women's World title is the future. Is Lyra Valkyria going to win the Women's World Championship by beating Stephanie Vaquer and face Liv Morgan for this title at WrestleMania? Raw's main event is an absolute banger match between the two. Two of the best wrestlers Raw's locker room has to offer are now colliding paths tonight for the Women's World Championship. But as Liv Morgan didn't want this match to take place, her teammates Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day are here to ruin the match as Roxanne removes the turnbuckle pad. Raquel's also out there, but after a long fought battle, neither Lyra nor Stephanie want this match to be ruined, and they both get back to their feet at the same time, and after they look to each other, they look down at ringside, and they decide to continue this match fair and square, as they both launch themselves over and through the ropes to take Roxanne and Raquel down. They return to the ring to continue their fight, but Chad Patton, the referee, is going to fix the turnbuckle pad because it was exposed earlier on by Roxanne Perez. This gives Liv Morgan the chance to enter and take down Stephanie Vaquer, but not just Stephanie. She wants to ruin the entire match and now is calling for Lyra. But even though we thought she's the past, Bayley is here to save this match. That is preventing it from being ruined. Bayley tosses Liv towards the steel steps to help her friend. Maybe one last good thing to do for your friend, or so we think. Bayley didn't let Liv take Lyra down because she wanted to do it herself, and Stephanie Vaquer didn't see it. Neither did the referee, and Stephanie's gonna do what she's best at, and that is to deliver an SVB to Lyra Valkyria for a 1, 2, 3, so she'd still be the Women's World Champion. The Women's World Championship match at WrestleMania will still be Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan, but the one who's laid out in the ring is Lyra Valkyria, and she's there because of Bayley. We move on to next week, and Lyra Valkyria is looking for Bayley because this one wasn't unintentional at all. This one wasn't a shift in Bayley's character. This was an intentional betrayal. And she's talking to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce tells her that he hasn't seen Bayley in the arena yet. She hasn't arrived, but the infuriated, pissed off Lyra Valkyria is not buying it. So she walks down the ramp herself to call the role model out. She enters the ring. This is maybe the most aggressive version of Lyra Valkyria that we have ever seen, and she's calling out Bayley, but there's no sign of the role model in the ring. However, she appears on the Tron with a message. You were right, Lyra. Every single thing you told me was true. Sometimes you don't have to take action. You just simply need to understand. And I understood. I understood you when you said you know what's best for you as a grown woman. And I realized if you are a sensible person, then after all these years, I know what's best for me too. I understood, and I decided to step up and take what's mine. Why don't you come to the ring? Why don't you have the guts to face me after what you did like a coward last week, huh? No. This time, we'll do it on my terms. I'm not gonna give you anything you want like I taught you everything through the past 12 months. If you want to fight me, we'll do it. But at WrestleMania. Remember, Lyra, I taught you every trick you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know. Stakes are high. A match is gonna take place at WrestleMania between Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, and tonight, Lyra will sign the contract of it. But as she's getting ready for the contract signing, she's met by her opponent 2 weeks ago, the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. Lyra, I watched the replay, and I want you to know that I didn't see the interference when it happened. That's not how I wanted to retain this title against you. You deserved a fair finish. And when I'm done with Liv at WrestleMania, and when you're done with Bayley, we'll run this back. One-on-one, no excuses. No, not like that. Next time, I won't wait for an offer, and I won't take a shortcut. The next time I step in the ring with you for that championship, I'll be the one coming after you, after I earned the right to do it. So nobody can take that moment away from me. Lyra has a lot on her plate, but for tonight, it's the contract signing segment with Bayley. They're planning to tear each other apart, and they will do that in a last woman standing match at WrestleMania. After shouting at each other and with Bayley trying to justify her actions, she says, "You think because you have beaten me before, you can do it again. But Lyra, have you forgotten how our paths crossed for the first time? It was last year when you thought you're the unbeatable Intercontinental Champion after only beating a couple of unworthy secondary wrestlers. Then you faced me, and for the first time you realized how is it like to face someone who's already into this business and has a name for herself. You lost to me, but it was a non-title match and you got lucky. Then you made the right move. You came to me, tried to learn, we had another match, but eventually, I ended up being the one getting you your first WrestleMania match of your career, and again, you got lucky. Then, that liar Becky won you the titles, and you got lucky again. After she betrayed you, I wasn't around for a while to come after your title, and you got lucky again that I wasn't the one to take that title from you and put you in your place. But at WrestleMania, there will be no luck saving you from me." Luck? You want to talk about the past to tell me I got lucky? I was the Queen of the Ring finalist in my first year, and I was so close to win it. I became IC champion without you, and I don't need to mention that I walked over you to get another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. But you know what? Now I understand. Maybe what you did at SummerSlam wasn't unintentional at all. You thought because you beat me in our first match, so I can never beat you. And when I did, not only did you cost me everything at SummerSlam, but also did everything to keep me back in the shadows of the tag team division, exactly where you belong to be nowadays, because you were jealous of me. After Lyra says this, Bayley gets infuriated and takes down the Bird Lady. She has had enough of talking, and now it's time to give the crowd a preview of what's gonna happen in the last women's standing match at WrestleMania. But Lyra Valkyria is somehow getting the upper hand against Bayley, but Bayley escapes by leaving the ring. However, Lyra joins her there, but that's the environment Bayley chose because she knew she can't get the upper hand right there. And not only does she use the ringside environment to take down Lyra, but also they return to the ring because the role model wants to put Lyra Valkyria through the contract signing table. Now, we can be sure that after all these months, Bayley's darker side has taken control of her and is making decisions for her. But now, it's time for WrestleMania 42, the last women's standing match between Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. And they're tearing each other apart. Hard moves, high-flying moves, using weapons, chairs, kendo sticks. They're just decimating one another at the grandest stage of them all, as both of them want to prove the other one wrong and say, "I am the better one." At some point, Bayley delivers a Bayley to Bayley through the table to Lyra Valkyria, but Lyra keeps beating the count and standing up on her feet. She fights back against Bayley, and she dives for a table break of her own. This time, Bayley's put through a table with a splash from Lyra, but Bayley keeps standing on her 2 feet. Again, the match continues, and at some point, Bayley manages to deliver a rose plant at ringside. But the role model is not done yet. She's picking up a ladder from under the ring and she sets it up at ringside. She puts Lyra Valkyria on the announce table and the driven insane Bayley is climbing the ladder. But Lyra recovers and she joins her up there too. She delivers a couple of punches. However, Bayley doesn't want to fall. She delivers a right hand, but a kick from Lyra Valkyria is enough to knock Bayley off the ladder as she's now on the announce table. Lyra Valkyria goes on the top and delivers a massive diving famouser through the announce table. And the referee starts counting, and Lyra Valkyria is standing while Bayley's down, and she cannot beat the count this time, as the Bird Lady is the one walking out of this match victorious and as the last woman standing. After a massive fight, Lyra Valkyria finally leaves Bayley behind and can go forward to see what's next for her. But what's next for her depends on the result of this match. The Royal Rumble winner Liv Morgan versus the Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer. This match is also as technical as it gets. And at some point, La Primera wants the springboard crossbody, but Liv Morgan moves, and the referee gets taken out instead. That was unintentional, but now we have no referee. And Liv Morgan enters from behind with a backstabber until we have the arrival of Raquel Rodriguez with a steel chair in hand. She passes the chair to Liv Morgan, and Liv is calling for Stephanie to beat her with a steel chair, but she may not have the chance to, because the betrayal that many of us have been waiting for is finally happening. Raquel Rodriguez snaps and delivers the Tahana Bomb to Liv Morgan. Two longtime friends who have been like sisters to one another are now breaking up this friendship, and a corkscrew splash by Stephanie Vaquer is enough to put an end to the dreams of becoming the Women's World Champion once again for Liv Morgan. And still, the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. But both Lyra and Stephanie agreed to meet one another again for the title after they're done with their opponents, but Lyra wants to earn the shot this time, and she's doing that by winning matches in the Queen of the Ring tournament and qualifying to the finals. Lyra Valkyria qualifies to the finals round for the second time in her career, and this time is planning to become Queen of the Ring. And in Saudi Arabia, she faces the finalist from SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton, and in an epic battle between the two, we're witnessing the battle between two women that the present and the future of this company is in their hands. And Lyra Valkyria eventually manages to deliver the Nightwing to Tiffany Stratton, and she is the one coming out on top, successful, as she punches her ticket to SummerSlam for another Women's World Championship match against Stephanie Vaquer, this time as the Queen of the Ring. But speaking of SummerSlam, we are now in Minneapolis, and SummerSlam 2026 is gonna host the massive battle between Lyra Valkyria and Stephanie Vaquer once again. And this time, there's no Bayley for Lyra Valkyria, there's no Liv Morgan for Stephanie Vaquer, there's no Judgment Day to get involved, and both of them have passed through their problems, and now they can have a fair one-on-one matchup like they wanted to for the Women's World Championship. And they're both are doing their best. They're hitting everything they have in their playbook to take the other one down. But on the other hand, both of them are resisting perfectly. At some point, Stephanie Vaquer misses a springboard crossbody, and that gives Lyra the chance to take her down. She delivers a beautiful leg lariat and goes on the top, perhaps with a diving famouser, the same move that brought her victory at WrestleMania. She's calling for Stephanie, but as Stephanie gets back to her feet, she knocks Lyra down off the top rope and follows it up with an SVB. This is the move that won Stephanie their first match after Bayley interfered, but not this time. A kick out by Lyra Valkyria keeps her alive in this matchup. She crawls to the corner trying to recover. However, Stephanie Vaquer is not letting her. She wants to continue the beatdown. This match is maybe built on respect, but they're not gonna show any mercy to one another. And Stephanie Vaquer is doing exactly what she's best at, and she wants the corkscrew splash to end things once and for all, but Lyra moves out of the harm's way and is muscling Stephanie up and takes her down with the Nightwing. Kick out by Stephanie at 2.9. People can't believe their eyes. Neither can Lyra, but she's not wasting any more time. She is locking her hands in a submission, and a unique submission, to tap the Women's World Champion out. But instead, she somehow manages to take Lyra down with a drop toe hold to lock her in the STF. And STF is now locked in on Lyra Valkyria, and now Lyra has nowhere to go. But maybe she does. A couple of elbows to the face gives her the chance to slip out of the submission, and she follows it up with the beautiful enziguri right to the side of the head. She goes on the top rope, and she lands the diving famouser onto Stephanie. Vaquer is down, but Lyra is not done yet. Lyra climbs the ropes, and from the top, this time, she dives with a frog splash. Lyra's doing everything and anything she knows and she can. She lifts Stephanie Vaquer up one more time for another Nightwing after a famouser and after a frog splash to finally become the Women's World Champion. And Stephanie Vaquer, in a show of respect, gives her the title by herself and shakes hands with the Bird Lady. So say hello to your new top star and the new World Champion.